Let me invite Ms. Joanne Carling from Asia Indigenous Peoples Pact.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are around 5,000 distinct indigenous peoples from all over the world. We nourish the forest, deserts, rivers, and fields that form part of our culture. Our traditional knowledge is built through centuries of symbiotic interaction and codependence with our natural environment. We are governed by our customary institutions that provide for social cohesion, cooperation, and collective resilience, access to justice, sustainable resource management systems for the common good, and solidarity relations with other peoples. We are self-governing peoples and rights holders, and our institutions uphold sustainable development as part of our well-being. Why then are we being evicted to give way to hydropower dams, to monoplantations and extractive industries? These destroy our lands, villages, livelihoods, sacred sites, our customary institutions, and our well-being. This is the question of thousands of indigenous peoples who continue to be discriminated and marginalized as an effect of the economic growth in many states. Madam Chair, we are not against development. We are, in fact, the embodiment of sustainable development. But we are threatened by development targets, such as those on energy and climate change solutions, if our human rights are not protected. Inclusive institutions for achieving the SDGs for us mean the recognition and respect for our customary institutions and our sustainable resource management systems. It means mechanisms that require our free, prior, and informed consent to development projects and programs that affect us. It means inclusive partnership based on the respect for our self-determined development. Universal access to justice means ensuring the effective protection of our collective rights against land grabbing, displacements, and destruction of our cultural heritage by states and private sector. It means going beyond social and environmental safeguards to fully ensure respect for human rights, equitable benefit sharing, and accountability. The MDG goals did not overcome discrimination against indigenous peoples. If we should not again be left behind, we need concrete actions. Hence, this is the time for states to show the political will and take concrete actions to abide by and implement their international obligations and commitments to indigenous peoples under the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the World Conference on Indigenous Peoples, which took place last year. These commitments require institutions and mechanisms for the effective participation of indigenous peoples in decision-making at all levels, institutional reforms, and mechanisms of enforcement, as well as special measures for our economic, political, and social empowerment. We, as indigenous peoples, extend our cooperation in developing the needed partnerships to achieve the SDGs on the basis of equality, equity, accountability, cultural diversity, non-discrimination, and respect for human rights. Thank you, Madam Chair.